Hello and welcome to the Federal. Today we have Lieutenant General DS Hooda, an Army veteran and an expert on issues of defense and strategic affairs. So my first question to you is, the Union government recently banned Tehreek-e-Hurriyat and Muslim League Jammu and Kashmir in Kashmir. These two organizations are related to Sayyid Ali Shah Gilani and Masarrat Alam, his prodigy. So, do you think these organizations are still important and relevant after the removal of Article 370 4 years ago?
See, Gyan, if you look historically, the fact is that these organizations, which are collectively called the separatists, had an agenda in which, they tried to bring in Pakistan into what India considered the internal affairs. They were giving a lot of importance to Pakistan. They would go and meet the Pakistani High Commissioner in Delhi every year. They were also getting some funding from Pakistan. They were also responsible for protests in the valley, organization of hartal, stone pelting, etc. So frankly, I think it's right that uh, these organizations be banned because they were absolutely carrying out an anti-India kind of agenda. Yes, their relevance over the years had been reducing. I mean, even among the local population, the support was waning, and particularly after 370, really, but then why should you, keep organizations which historically have had an agenda of separatism from India, an anti-India kind of narrative that they were, bringing out. So I think the government has taken a right step by banning these organizations.
So, after the death of three civilians recently, Defense Minister Rajnath Singh has categorically stated that armed forces should not make mistakes that hurt countrymen. Now, senior ministers normally do not make such public statements, especially when they are traveling to Kashmir. How important is the statement for Jammu and Kashmir, sir?
I think it's a very important statement. I mean, to be honest, as you said, senior political leaders normally don't make this statement. But I think, the Raksha Mantri has shown great wisdom and great maturity. See, the three civilians who were killed, belong to the Gujar Bakarwal community. And this community has always supported the Indian Army in its operations. In fact, it would not be wrong to say that a great part of the success that we have had in rolling back militancy in the Jammu region was actually a result of the support that we derived from, this Gujar Bakarwal community. So this, action by some local troops in, beating these people and then three of them dying was actually completely uncalled for. I must also say that the army also reacted very quickly to this development by, removing three officers from there and putting out a public statement saying that, action will be taken and the matter will be investigated. So I think overall, what the Raksha Mantri has done and what the army and the statements that given out have been a measure to try and curtail the fallout of this incident on the larger community. So I would say hats off to the RM for having gone there and said this.
True. So the Supreme Court recently asked the Election Commission to conduct elections in Jammu and Kashmir by September 30th, 2024. Now, it is possible that this would be the first assembly election after the completion of the delimitation process and also the first after Jammu and Kashmir became a union territory. How important are these political processes?
Gyan, I think it's very important. Ultimately, you have to empower the people. So while we can say that we are dealing with the violence levels through security means, I think at the end of the day, if we want to find solutions and we want to find long-term solutions to the problem, then the people have to be involved in this process. And so it's key that we hold elections in the state. I mean, we call ourselves the biggest democracy in the world, and if we are the biggest democracy, then we cannot indefinitely keep the election process in Jammu and Kashmir on hold.
Absolutely.
And irrespective of what kind of political dispensation comes, yeah, at the end of the day, that political dispensation will have the confidence of the people. And that I think is important, in trying to ultimately find long-term solutions to the problems that are there in Jammu and Kashmir.
So you have served in Jammu and Kashmir for long. What is your view on the issue of restoration of statehood for Jammu and Kashmir? So do you think that is it possible that in the near future or maybe before the elections, the union government will restore full statehood to Jammu and Kashmir?
Again, I think the government, the Home Minister has said in Parliament that statehood will be restored to Jammu and Kashmir, and I have no reason to, doubt his words. When it will be done is a question mark, and I think it will depend on two, three things. One is what is the security situation in the state, and is it good enough to have a restoration of status quo? I don't think it will happen before the elections. The government could well wait, for elections to take place, see what is the kind of political dispensation that emerges, what is their stance. Sometimes we feel that the state government and the center are always at odds with with each other. So that is also some consideration that will go in. But I think ultimately, when it does happen, it will be a good step. One of the major angst amongst the people is that the manner in which the state was reduced to a union territory. I don't think Article 370 hurt them as much as the fact that they were downgraded to a union territory. So some of that angst that is there will also go away if statehood is restored.
So there are people who believe that there should be reservation for Kashmiri Pandits in the Jammu and Kashmir Assembly. Do you think political empowerment can bridge the gap or resolve issues?
Look, political empowerment of the Kashmiri Pandits is important. But let me also say that it's not the whole issue.
True.
I mean, the manner in which this community was violently driven out of Kashmir, the killings that happened, the fact that there are now large numbers of living in what can literally be called refugee camps, in and around Jammu, uh, their whole cultural heritage, etc. So there are larger issues, I think, apart from political empowerment, which need to be addressed. Can we provide them a secure environment within Kashmir for those who wish to go back? Can we resettle, rehabilitate them, with optimal security, compensation for lost properties? The fact that so many of them were killed, is there a case for, looking at how this whole incident happened? So I'm saying there are a large number of issues that are connected, and really the Kashmiri Pandit issue needs to find, some dignified end. Now, you recall in the Supreme Court judgment, Justice Call talked about a Truth and Reconciliation Commission.
True.
Would that be some sort of a start point where we can find a proper closure to the Kashmiri Pandit issue? But there are a number of factors that I think holistically needs to be addressed when we're looking at the Kashmiri Pandits.
So my last question to you is, recently former Chief Minister Farooq Abdullah said that if talks with Pakistan do not happen, then Kashmir will become another Gaza. Do you think it's a fair statement, sir?
I don't. Look, sometimes political statements sort of tend to exaggerate, what the situation. I don't think the way things are today and the way things have been in the past, that we are going to see a Gaza kind of situation in Kashmir. I think what is required is, as we discussed, if we can politically sort of empower the people, hear their voices, hear what the problems are, look at some serious economic development of that area, look at, as I said, politically sort of empowering the state leadership. These are issues that I think will go into a long-term solution to what has plagued us for many, many years since its independence. But really, I would say it's a bit of an exaggeration to say that if we don't talk to Pakistan, it could become another Gaza or something.
True. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your time. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Subscribe to the Federal's YouTube page for more news and updates.